Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to be talking about the roadmap that Games Workshop released for Warhammer the Old World, as it did have some interesting information alongside the article which had a little bit more, let's be honest there, and I feel like we need to talk about this because it's quite important news. So, we're not to be expecting anything else in 2024 after the Warriors of Chaos release. We might get another wave of dwarves and another wave of orcs plus Chaos Warriors, but major factions will be moved to 2025. What's interesting is they confirmed the next two factions. Next, coming up at the beginning of 2025, I'm assuming, is going to be the Empire. This was confirmed that the Empire is going to be the next faction, and yeah, I was kind of right here. I know a lot of people were expecting the High Elves next, but they're coming a little bit after. It just makes sense, especially since the character for the Warriors of Chaos, Fridal, is basically harassing the Empire. That's cool. I'm a big fan. There's a bit of information about that in the article. We'll get in there in just a second. Then we've got the High Elves. So weird, actually. I was expecting Beastmen versus Wood Elves after the Empire, as it made a lot of sense there. But yeah, it looks like they're going to go with the High Elves next, which, okay, cool. Iconic faction. A lot of people do like them, especially with the hints that are in the article themselves. Now, what we have to continue with down here is army boxes, right? Army boxes, heroes in plastic, metal, resin. The very interesting thing about this is we have battalion boxes. I'm not sure if they are going to release more army boxes in the same style that we had for the Tomb Kings and the Bretonnians, as they were pretty good value for money. It might be a thing. Remember, back in the day for Warhammer Fantasy, we did have battalion boxes and then army boxes. But it's very weird because every other article that we've seen is calling the current battalion boxes and not army boxes. So if we get both, that would be great. The army boxes back in the day, if you remember, were massive boxes. They usually had a number of units. They had a number of characters too. Limited edition BSBs. The boxes were more or less close to 2,000 points, whereas the battalion boxes are usually around half an army. The Warriors of Chaos one that's about to come out tomorrow, well, on pre-order, is 1,100 points if you do upgrades and so on. Now, before we move on, there is something that we need to talk about. Obviously, this was recorded before the Warriors of Chaos were released, but interestingly enough, I'm assuming that this stuff was done prior to the Dwarf Mountain Holds, because, I mean, it says Dwarf Mountain Holds still to come. I mean, yeah, we do still need, like, multiple waves and so on, but yeah, it just feels odd. This is something that I know a lot of people weren't happy about, especially because a bunch of stuff was confirmed for all the other settings, but in this kind of format, 40k, for example, confirmed Deathcore Krieg getting their own army and so on, but yeah, not a lot of information. It's not a great roadmap, that's for sure. It does make me hyped up, because at the end of the day, that means that I get a little bit of time off to start working on other projects, rather than going, oh, this army's coming up next, I should really start focusing on this, and so on and so forth, right? I'm still behind. I'm still working on my Orcs and Goblins, by the way. But yeah. There is some extra information that we do need to talk about, because the article does really drop a little bit of a bomb there. So next to march out against the forces of darkness will be the Empire, bringing with them a host of returning plastic, metal, and resin, as well as a collection of totally new models, so a bunch of new stuff, and an arcane journal bursting with good stuff. Get your Null oil ready. So it's very likely that we'll see like a army of infamy focused around the city of Null, gunpowder faced, and so on. It does make sense for them to do that because, I mean, it's very simple. Most of those units would already be available. You know, handgunners you've already got access to. We've got a bunch of war machines for the Empire. Really, what would be nice to see is the returning Null Ironsides. Hell, even maybe the Marienburg Landship would be kind of cool. Though, at the bottom of the article, it does say, look forward to a Warhammer preview in the near future. You'll be able to hitch up your war wagons and see some of the new and returning Empire kits. They are making it seem like there's going to be quite a decent amount of Empire stuff. There hasn't been a lot of new models per se when it comes to each of the releases. Another thing is them going war wagons, so it's pretty much safe to say that war wagons are going to be a unit again, hopefully with an updated model, because the old metal one has not really aged too well. That was from like, what, 4th or 5th edition? I'm excited. I'm excited if we can get one in plastic with a bunch of different options. That would be grand. Here's hoping that's the case. I don't think we've had very big new units. Well, we haven't really had that many new units at all, but yeah, here's hoping for the best. They know the Empire would sell, because the Empire was actually one of the most popular factions for Warhammer Fantasy for a long, long time, and this is why I imagine that it's going to sell, and they're going to invest into it more. New cast, new models, new characters, blah, 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 blah. Well, characters is a given because this is one of the few factions where characters cannot be returning. I am genuinely curious about what they mean with the whole as a collection of totally new models. Because if it's just characters, it'll be disappointing. I'd love a few new units here and there with the Arcane Journal. And no, a Null Ironside is not a new unit because, I mean, that existed in Tamokon. What a great book, by the way. Tamokon was amazing. In the same article, right above the roadmap, we've got a little bit of a message around the High Elves. Following a little while behind, delayed by some delicious intrigue at court, are the High Elves, worming their way back in with their own host of classic kits plus a nautical new character. Okay, so, High Elves, cool, big faction, loads of cool models, some of the stuff has been updated, especially if they start using the Island of Blood stuff just by changing around the sprues a little bit. I'd be happy for that. Going Merworming pretty much just confirms that the Merworm is going to come back, and a nautical new character makes me think Sea Lord Aisling. So, I was right about the Empire before. I think I'm going to be right here too, because Merworm, Sea Lord Aisling, it's the Lothan Sea Patrol, and it would be an easy army for them to do because we've already got the Skycutters as a normal part of the range, Lothan Sea Guard also, Silver Helms could be used, I guess. It's a very easy army of infamy to do by just adding in pretty much just, yeah, you know, the character, the named character with Sea Lord Aisling and the Merworm. Everything else, you've kind of already got Sea Lords with nobles and so on, because the High Elves can be crafted with their characters. It's a pretty cool system for them. I'd be totally down. Hopefully, if it is Sea Lord Aisling, I know a lot of people are thinking Finnabar, but I feel like they'd probably go for Aisling because he's got artwork. His artwork was recently redone, by the way, for Cubicle 7 for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, so it kind of lines up, as it is pretty much known that they are talking a lot with regards to Old World. We know that there's an Old World game coming too for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay also, so yeah, that would be cool. Hey, I could be wrong. What is weird to me here is it looks like there's going to be a general slowdown for everything for Warhammer. A lot of stuff saying, you know, 2025. I was about to say 2015. That's weird. But yeah, you know, I think it's just they're getting the new factory ready. That's something that has been mentioned in multiple financial reports. So it could be linked to that, which is why we're not going to see much in October, November, December, with a big push happening there for the final factions. It's a bit disappointing for a Old World point of view because we're almost there, and it would have been nice to basically get all the factions out and about before the first year anniversary, but yeah, that's not too bad. We're about halfway through, so we've had a decent amount of releases. I myself am looking forward to the Chaos Warrior pre-order tomorrow, as I can finally get my hands on some great weapons. And I'm going to be picking up a few of the dwarfs from the made-to-order section too, because at the end of the day, I mean, I'd be silly not to, right? I do wish that the roadmaps were just a little bit better. It's not really a roadmap, it's more like a road pamphlet. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start a bit of a discussion. I do apologize for being late here, but I am preparing a bunch of stuff, some really cool stuff, and I'm about to go and film a battle report. Yes, we're coming back with it next week. I do apologize. Walter was ill, but we have someone new joining us, so it's going to be a bit more consistent. I'll see you all again very, very soon, guys. Have a great day.